Am I in the picture?
You need to go over something. That's what I was trying to do.
Turn it a little bit.
I'm trying to put some good info within the skin zone. So when they come down the sewer, they in the right zone. They're standing in teachers section, but they mama's on the mama. I'm just gonna stop now. Can't nobody hold me down. I'm an achiever. You can probably gonna start. I was good at it go far. I am a leader. You should come and follow me. I can lead you to your bright dreams. I am a dreamer. A dreamer. I am a dreamer. A dreamer. A dreamer. I should put this coat on the shirt. I'm here for a reason, and God put me on this earth. Kids, you gotta be smart, it ain't easy to achieve. I say knowledge, you can go to college and get a degree after all the hard work and shit. Hands to a degree. This ain't assuming you don't need for a mystery. Problems are already solved, and it's all for you. See, I'm a little above, and I'm just trying to show you the technique. I stand up with some move by you. Legacy is kinda hard to do the right thing, especially when you listen. The one who acts like the friend really is your enemy. All you did to me is start to begin to feel back and forth Tennessee. The way you got to Tennessee, dating really deep, trying to find my enemy. Searching for the answer to the question. I begin to think I found the enemies. Now I'm up to better things and I'm the believer. I'm gonna stop now. Ain't nobody hold me down. I'm an achiever. You can find me on the star. I was good at it go far. I am a leader. You should come and follow me. I can lead you to your bright dreams. I am a dreamer. A dreamer. I am a dreamer. A dreamer. A dreamer. I'm not gonna stop now. Ain't nobody hold me down. I'm an achiever. You can find me on the star. I was good to go far. I am a leader. You should come and follow me. I can lead you to your brightest dreams. I am a dreamer. A dreamer. I am a dreamer. A dreamer. A dreamer. Believer. I'm not gonna stop now. Can't nobody hold me down. I'm an achiever. You can find me on the star. I was good to go far. I am a leader. You should come and follow me. I can lead you to your brightest dreams. I am a dreamer. A dreamer. I am a dreamer. A dreamer. A dreamer. Believer. I'm not gonna stop now. Can't nobody hold me down. I'm an achiever. You can find me on the star. I was good to go far. I am a leader. You should come and follow me. I can lead you to your brightest dreams. I am a dreamer. A dreamer. I am a dreamer. A dreamer. A dreamer.
Good morning, afternoon, good day to the city of Houston. My name is Errol Jones. I want to share some information with you today. It's an exciting day because we are about to do some things to free up some folks. H.D. Chambers, Superintendent for the Alief ISD School District, should resign immediately. Sarah Winkler, School Board Member, should repose and resign from the school board immediately. I have a few other names of individuals that have been involved in ridiculous activities and are supporting foolishness in the school district. It's come to a head. It's time to stop. Today, we want to drop some information on the people responsible for making sure this foolish kind of behavior stops. My name is Errol Jones. This is the Entrepreneurs Network show, but today we're going to suspend talking about business and making money, and we're going to talk about business, the business of education, the business of educating African American and Hispanic youth in this city. It's time for a change. Now, for whatever reason that this is happening today, I'm not quite sure, but I know that the parameters, the situation surrounding the things that I'm about to talk about deserve and demand immediate attention. When looking at situations across the country, terrorist mass shootings, and I'm speaking specifically about mass shooting at this time, we always look at what could we have done to stop it. I can't recall too many situations in which deranged gunmen entered into buildings and harmed our children, harmed our brothers and sisters, harmed our family members, and I'm not just talking about African Americans. Can't think about any situation in which this has occurred where when we go back and look at the gunman, we find out conditions that we want to think should have given us reason to say we need to watch this person. The Alief ISD superintendent, the school board, the administrators in the district have a situation going on in the school district that needs to be addressed. What's the situation? I'm going to give you some names of individuals, call them on the carpet, and simply ask you to go and investigate. A simple conversation, a simple activity. You don't have to believe a thing that I say. Good friends have told me, Mr. Jones, they're probably going to laugh at you. You can laugh all you want, but the facts remain the same. They need to be investigated. In my opinion, these individuals I just mentioned have supported, from my perspective, what we would call institutionalized racism. As I looked at it, I recognized that it was just not a racial situation. There are individuals in the district that have been lied on. How can I say that? Just look at the paperwork. There's a paper trail to everything I'm going to say, so that if I didn't say another word after today, you would be remiss in not investigating. Teachers, administrators, I get information from them on an almost daily basis about situations and conditions in the district that are not being addressed. Following the normal procedures has led down a path of darkness. Filing a grievance, another grievance, and another grievance, and a lawsuit, and taking it to the state. A recent report said that the state is 2 years behind listening to your grievances. And when you file those grievances, let me give you an analogy. If I was a slave on a plantation, let me give you the phone number too if you want to call in. The telephone number is 713-526-1230. 713-526-1230. On a plantation, if the overseer was beating the slaves and mistreating the slaves, what do you think would happen when the slaves would go to the master and report the harsh treatment of the overseer? The master, depending on the slave, might pat him on the head and send him on his way. He may tell him that he's going to handle it, but at the end of the day, the slave is still in slavery. The slave is still in bondage. And why do I want to bring these things up? Is it because I don't have anything else to do? I have plenty of things to do. I'm not asking for your vote. You don't have to join a business that I'm promoting. I don't need you to come to my church. I'm not asking you for anything. I'm not even asking you to not laugh. All I'm simply doing at this point is making sure that those people responsible for monitoring situations for our young people in the schools and our parents and our families are held accountable and look into the situation. Who are those people? It can't be the school district. They're in bondage. If you know anyone from Alief, just call them up and ask them what the conditions are in the Alief school district. The people are terrified. Highly qualified people are leaving the district. They're terrified. I can walk down the hall, and because I speak out, people don't want to walk down the hall with me, yet they're supporters, because how do I get the information? How do I know what's going on in the ad building? How do I know what's going on different campuses? Because the same people that you work with on a regular basis who are intimidated and won't speak up, and I clearly understand that you have children in school, you have children in college, you have a house note, you have a livelihood, you have a career ahead of you. So do I. So does everyone. But all of us cannot be on the front line, because in Alief, they have been able to systematically keep the lid on the people from speaking out. Parents don't really know. The teachers know. The administrators know. Mr. Chambers knows, Sarah Winkler knows, the school board knows. They know what I'm talking about. And others that have been involved in conditions involved in different instances of questionable behavior, they know. But they don't have a voice to be able to speak up loud enough to be heard, because as soon as they speak up, they're eliminated, systematically eliminated. Do I need to call the roll? Do I need to go down the names of people who work there and no longer work there? While it will appear to be a racially motivated condition, it's beyond race. There are very good Anglo-Americans that are in the Alief School District that work hard every day, and they're supportive of the cause, but they'll lose their jobs and be targeted. When you have administrators coming to you and telling you that you are being targeted, which administrators have done, what do? Do you go to the people that are supposedly targeting you? You really can't. And so today we need to take the lid off. We need to stop this from going on. And the problem is not Alief, the problem is not HD Chambers, the problem is not the school board, the problem are the people that sit around and watch what's going on and have knowledge of it and do nothing. How do I know you have knowledge of it? I'm on the inside. You know I'm on the inside. So I have knowledge of who you are and who knows. But until it's brought to the public and the public begins to see, will there be a concerted effort? Now, I mentioned something about mass shootings. Do I believe a mass shooting is about to happen in Alief? No, I don't believe so. I really don't. I hadn't really thought about it. I came home last night after 2 or 3 meetings that I had. I arrived home pretty late. It was raining. And I don't even know how I received this article. But I received an article. I'm going to have to go back and pull it up. And it said that principal rapes boy while parents are in the front office. Principal rapes boy while the parents were in the front office. Google it. I'm sure it will come up. This gentleman was a principal and an administrator in different schools. He was moved around from school to school and was suspected of improper behavior with students. He was relocated until finally now we have a headline that says principal rapes boy while parents were in the front office. Now, how could that have been stopped? When those allegations were first coming forward, when those people who complained were were noting it, when this kind of information was being placed in the file, surely there's something that could have been done to move this man somewhere else. Now, when you look at mass shootings, here's a problem. You really don't know who the mass shooters are until after the mass shooting. People who have acted erratically, people who have been irrational, people who have been attacking others with no real valid reason. The kinds of activities in this one particular school that are going on right now demands that HD Chambers take action and look into the situation. Now, let me give you some background on Alief. I love Alief School District. We have wonderful teachers in Alief School District. It is a multicultural environment. It is 98% minority. At one time, just in the recent past, 70% of the top leadership in Alief was Anglo. That's not a problem. 98% of the community was minority, is minority. On this day, I just spoke with an individual from one particular campus, from a principal who was overheard by an individual, it's reported, to have said that he was a member of the Rat Pack. And they clarified and said that the Rat Pack was, quote, a group of white men who came from Katy, Texas to take the district over for white people, unquote. Witnesses that were there, I can give you the names, individuals who spoke to those witnesses and spilled the beans. Now, I heard that earlier in the year, not this year, year before, and you just blow it off. People can say what they want to say. But then you heard it later on in the year, and you start looking around and start noticing that the African Americans on your campus were slowly disappearing and being replaced with Anglo Americans. The Hispanics, one EEOC report said that in the paraprofessional ranks, I think that not this year but last year, I'm pretty sure the numbers were 71 Hispanic paraprofessionals left the district. They were replaced with 41 Anglo paraprofessionals. There's nothing wrong with having Anglo paraprofessionals. But doesn't it strike you as kind of strange? Is the Hispanic community so enriched that they could lose that many key positions, paying positions in a district, and then replace them with 71 Hispanics leave, 41 Anglos receive the jobs? At one school, I spoke to an individual, which is predominantly minority. When he sat in a meeting, I'm sorry, my friends, but it's time out for the game. When he sat in a meeting in the same building with the principal, who reportedly said he was a member of the Rat Pack. We don't know for sure. It's really immaterial. We don't care what you say. It's what you do. Not what you say, but what you do. The individual sat and he looked around the room for all the department heads, and he saw that he was pretty much the only minority there, black. In a school that's predominantly minority, the department heads have been replaced with Anglos. That's not a problem. If you are able to do the job, it's wonderful. But right now the school is out of control. Teachers are listening in right now. You know it's out of control. I am aware of a situation in which sewage gas was rampant in the school, in the cafeteria. Sewage gas. Look it up and see what the effects of sewage gas are. When I mentioned it to a fellow African American, I said, "What's that smell?" And he said, "It's sewage gas." I said, "We need to tell someone." And the person said, "There's no need to tell anyone. It's been like that for 17 years. 17 years, children eating in the cafeteria with sewage gas rampant throughout the cafeteria. And then no one spoke up for 17 years. Now, I'm equal opportunity. If African Americans are at fault, I have no problem. My first statement to them was, every African American teacher who allowed themselves to be in an environment where sewage gas was not being addressed and didn't say a word or didn't even silently contact OSHA and report it should be fired. See, that's hard, isn't it? We have to start dealing with the results. We have to start dealing with and holding people accountable. We don't have a Anglo-American, white American problem in the black community. Our problem is in the black community. What do I mean by that? If you allow these things to go on in your community, in America today, it's your fault. Didn't you see Django? Do you remember when I can't think of the actor right now, but when he had the head of that former slave in his hand, that skull, and he began to describe the way the skull was designed, and he showed a place in the skull that had an indentation, and to him that meant that Old Joe, the slave, and African Americans were passive. He didn't understand why, when they had a knife to the throat of his dad, that the slaves didn't kill the dad. And he began to think that, Leonardo DiCaprio, that's right, and he began to think that we have just been trained to be passive. And it's not that we've been trained to be passive. Really, in our community, we're very forgiving. We're very understanding, for the most part, until you cross the lines, then you're going to have a problem. But generally in our community, we're very understanding people. You know it. We put up with a lot. We put up with degradation in the state of Texas, in Houston, Texas, in Alief in particular, and we understand it, but we understand it too much. So there's a problem. H.D. Chambers, because of the situation and the inactivity, I today call for your immediate resignation. Immediately. Sarah Winkler, you need to resign. This is the second time I publicly called for your resignation. Someone told me a few minutes ago that, Mr. Jones, if you talk about these things on the air, people are going to laugh. Doesn't matter whether you laugh or not. You have a situation in the Alief School District where African Americans and minorities are being displaced, where teachers and administrators who have had impeccable records are being put on growth plans that means that they're being watched closely with the potential for being fired if they do not address the needs on that growth plan. I worked in the district. Folks will say, someone said, well, Mr. Jones, they're going to, my attorney said they're going to try to label you as a disgruntled employee, ex-employee. I am a disgruntled ex-employee, not because I was concerned about the job. People that know me know I've been trying to leave that district for multiple years. That's not really the issue here. I'm disgruntled because when I look at what I've left behind, when I look at my dear friends who work there on a regular basis and put out time and energy and money to address the needs of the population, and I look back and see what I left, why wouldn't I be disgruntled? I'm the angry black man. I wear that title with pride. Now, I'm not so angry that I run around and tear down buildings, but I'm angry because when I sit down with my cohorts of all races, and we just take a minute to look at our histories and we show the history of our race, and a picture flashes up of kings and queens and rich people and all kinds of images of people of all kinds of races. And then when I pull up my history, I see a slave with 32, 40 lashes, 32, 33, 50 lashes across his back, scarred up. I see black men and women walking around with cattle prongs, with I don't even know, cowbells around their neck. And all I'm doing is looking at history. Now, how can you look at that as an African American and not feel some anger? If you've been so, what do you call it? If you've been so indoctrinated to not understand what was happening then, and if you have assimilated so much that you can't see it right now, there's a problem. There's a problem. I'm not saying anything different than Vice President Joe Biden said. He said they're trying to put you back on the plantation. Now, those are incendiary words that can come from Democrats and Republicans. I'm neither. I'm independent. Both of you have to work for my vote. You both. I'm not anti-Tea Party. That's a term that people have taken and just ran with and think that anybody's a Tea Party person is just absolutely crazy. No, there's some issues that need to be dealt with, and there's some issues that the Tea Party brings up that needs to be dealt with. Now, if they want to carry, if you're dealing with the Confederate flag wearing, waving Tea Party member, you know, that's another issue. But some of the issues brought up are valid. Let me get back to the main issue here. You must take a look at what's happening in the Alief ISD. Take a look at it. Take a look at it. Now, going back to the issue about the mass shootings, I was talking to someone this morning, and it really pricked my spirit. Today we're supposed to talk about entrepreneurship, but I couldn't really talk about that today because we have to clean up the house first. There's some stuff that needs to happen. Now remember, I already told you, I'm not asking you to vote for me for anything. I'm not asking you to join my business or anything. I don't need that. Not a single dime from the city of Houston needs to flow through my business. You don't have to like me. You don't have to respect me. You don't have to do anything. Now, wait, let me back up here. There's consequences for being disrespectful. So remember, there's consequences. But you don't have to appreciate anything that I'm saying. You don't have to agree. You don't have to disagree. But what you really need to do is go over there to Alief and look out for your children. Look out for your children. Now, let me give you a website if you want to do a little more reading. And you don't even have to go to the website. This is not self-serving. Do not be distracted with that ignorance. Don't be distracted. The issue is there are students in a district in Texas, which I believe is operating in a plantation mode. There are students in Texas, Alief Independent District in particular, under the leadership of Mr. H.D. Chambers. I have nothing personal about Mr. Chambers. In fact, the folks that I'm working with will tell you I have gone to bat for Mr. Chambers. I don't have a problem with that until they started hitting me with the record. And I had to say, it's not just about me. I'm working with some other people as well, but they don't even have to agree. I roll one deep, as they say. I told someone when we were having some difficulties in Alief, I'm a believer. I believe in God. I would say I'm a Christian believer, and I used to say that, but now I like the term follower of the way. That's what the early Christians were initially called, followers of the way. Because in today's society, almost anything can be labeled Christian. Well, that's not the case here, but when you're a follower of the way, you live the way that Jesus lived. And so I adopt that. I adopt that. Man, that made me lose my thought on that, but I know it's going to come back in a moment. But the issue, once again, as I said, is what's going on in that district. Oh, this is what it was. I have nothing against Mr. Chambers. I've been a proponent and a supporter, even to the point of the people that support me becoming somewhat angry with me. Let me give you a number. 713-526-1230. Now, I absolutely can guarantee you we won't get a phone call from an Alief employee, and yet they're listening all around Alief School District. They're not going to call because they understand the consequences of being identified with any issue that is not approved by the Alief School Board and the Alief School Administration. So I can pretty much guarantee it. I'm not a prophet. It's not about prophecy. But the phone won't ring from Alief. It's not going to ring from Alief. I understand. I'm not mad. I appreciate it. Love you. This caller. Let's take this caller. I'll take a chance here and open up for discussion. Caller, you're on the air. I'm doing, if I told you I was doing good, I'd be lying. I'm doing tremendously great. Mm-hmm. 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 Right, right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. A lot of Christians do that. You see on television before some folks do a drive-by shooting, they'll do the sign of the cross. So the term itself is placed on almost anything. A follower of the way is someone who lives the way that Christ lived. And running up and down the aisles and singing, and you know, all that's wonderful. But you know, I'm offended, and I don't want to get distracted about defining what a Christian is and what a Christian is not. I'm a believer, but one thing I do know, but anyone that's following Christ makes a difference in his community. When John the Baptist was in prison, he sent his disciples to go ask Jesus, was he the Messiah? And Jesus never told them anything. He said, follow me. And when they followed him, they saw that he was preaching and teaching and healing and making a difference in the community. And that was the sign of his messiahship. And he told them, now go tell John what you saw. I'm not concerned about your theology. And I don't want to get too lost in talking to a number of pastors, this, that, and the other with their theology. But any pastor that's in the Alief area doesn't know what's going on in the education system. I'm going to have to be real concerned about what are you doing that you don't know. You don't have to be the person there, but these are your children in this community. These are the people that bring you tithe and offering in this community. With your educational, with your legislators. See, Texas, I stopped and I looked at this situation. Texas is running a plantation system, and we spend more time theologizing and talking about politics and talking